Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PCS Grades weekly or bi-weekly webinar. We're so excited to have you all here with us today. I know everyone is excited for the USA-Iran soccer game in an hour, but before you get to cheering on Team USA, we're so pumped to have U.S. TRANSCOM Defense Personal Property Management Office representatives with us today. With us, we have Ms. Melissa Jordan, Division Chief of DPMO Strategic Engagements, and Lieutenant Colonel Cody Honeycutt, Chief of the Training and Initiatives Branch. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for being here. And we'll go ahead and get started with my favorite question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and share how you're associated with the military. Melissa, we'll start with you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Sally. Good afternoon. We're thrilled to be here again. Thanks for inviting us back. And my name is Melissa Jordan. And as the banner says, I'm the Division Chief for the Strategic Engagements Division in the Defense Personal Property Management Office. And what that means is my team and I have the privilege of conducting communication strategy and implementation, fact sheets, web articles, a lot of communication and engagements and stakeholder outreach with both our DoD leaders as well as our customers. And a lot of the community outreach that we do is with our military spouses. So we try to reach a wide variety of audiences working through family readiness centers and others. And so that's really what we do. We also do some change management activities, which Colonel Honeycutt can talk about later if he wants to in his projects. But we essentially make sure that we cover down all of those stakeholder outreach and communications. My background is about more than a dozen years as a civil servant, leading stakeholder outreach, strategic communication in government agencies, both interagency as well as DoD organizations. And before that, I was in the Air Force for 24 years. So wow. Thanks. Appreciate being here. Thank you for inviting us.
Wonderful. And Colonel Honeycutt, over to you. Tell us about yourself and how you're associated with the military. That part should be a little obvious.
Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Cody Honeycutt here, coming from Scott Air Force Base. I've been in the Air Force for right at 18 years. I'm a logistics readiness officer by trade. And my last 3 years actually were as a GIPSO commander at GIPSO South Central in San Antonio. So I've been in household goods for, about the last 4 years and pretty up to speed on all the things and just getting it as much as I can, as fast as I can. I'm in charge of training and initiatives branch, and our team basically is developing all the training for the current program for DP3 and developing all the training for the GHC rollout to get all of our government employees trained and up to speed. Not only in the current program, but in the future program. And also any new initiatives that we work come through my branch. We kind of get them started in infant stage, and then as they grow and we mature them, we move them over to the other divisions and branches in DPMO. But yep, dual military actually. My wife's a flight nurse, so very familiar with military moves, and I'm looking forward to sharing info with the team.
Wonderful. Well, we are thrilled to have both of you here. And of course, a webinar or a webcast wouldn't be anything without our audience. So welcome to everyone viewing. Let us know where you're watching from. Please be sure to ask any of your questions or leave any of your comments in the comment section. We will get to those throughout our hour today. So please feel free to ask questions and get as much information from these two subject matter experts as you can. So we'll go ahead and get started. Colonel Honeycutt, this first question's for you. An update on the global household goods contract. Tell us everything.
I will tell you as much as I can without making people sign NDAs. No, I'm just kidding. So we obviously have good news. On November 4th, 2021, we awarded the global household good contract to Home Safe Alliance. Obviously, there was some complaints that were filed in 2021 and March of 2022, which resulted in the stop work. But on October 28th, the most recent set of complaints sent to the U.S. Court of Federal Claims were denied, which cleared the way for us to start working and resume contract performance with HomeSafe. So basically, on the first Friday of November, the 3rd and the 4th, I'm sorry, 2nd and 3rd, 3rd and 4th, we had our post award conference where we officially started working with HomeSafe again. Their team is super excited, as our team is. We're ready to kind of dive in. We're in the transition period now where we're looking at their IT systems and they're looking at our IT systems, and we're going through kind of the plan for the future. And so we're really excited about that. We're having weekly meetings with their team. Our team is like, as I said, going through all of their process maps, and we're kind of just making sure everything is linked up, and it's been a good start, and we look forward to continuing that as we move through the transition period, which will take us up to, we're not expecting our first moves until September of 23 will be the first moves under GHC. But we're super excited, and I know it's been a long time coming, a lot of back and forth, but we're definitely ready to get it underway.
Wonderful. I know that that's been a big topic of discussion, so I'm sure you're ready for that to get started.
Yeah.
Melissa, one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, what do we need to do after the delivery date? Can you walk us through a little bit of that process?
I sure can. Thank you, Tessa. And I just want to apologize. I think I called you Sally earlier.
Sally's awesome. I love
yes. Okay, great. So I just want to mention that, when we talk about moving a big military life, PCSs are ranked right up there with promotions. When you came into service, you remember the days you were promoted. You remember the days your children were born, if you have children, or when you're married, if you have a spouse. But then you also remember those PCS moves very vividly. And we really want those to be great memories, but sometimes they are less than great. We want to hear about both of those memories here in DoD. And it's very tempting to share with your friends, I had a great move and I'm so glad it's over. And now that I had a great move, I'm just going to focus and move on to the holidays or whatever else I've got going on. Or it may be different. We had a terrible move or somewhere in between, but I'm not going to bother on the survey. I just want to get my stuff sorted and just want to move on and forget about it, right? Well, what we really want is your feedback. And we're asking customers to make sure that they complete that customer satisfaction survey because it matters. It matters because we are using that data from the customer satisfaction surveys to inform whether or not we take action against those transportation service providers who didn't perform well, who didn't meet the standards. But most importantly, we are looking at a holistic score on whether they are a good value for the military, for DoD to contract in the future, right? And we also want to hear about those that are really good. We want to hear about those moving companies that did a great job. I had a really great move last year with the driver. He was the same driver in Virginia who drove my things out to Illinois, different crews. And so it's tempting to say, well, things were great, and we'll just move on. But essentially, that feedback really helps your military community. I know that everyone who's moving under military orders feels that sense of military community. Hopefully you do. And if you want someone to have a great move, then fill out that customer satisfaction survey if you had a great move and you want to mention, what was great about the move. Because those are the companies, the moving industry partners that we will in DoD look at contracting again and hiring for the 2023 moving season. So I want to just mention that. It's tempting. We've all been there to forget about it, but please remember that at 180 days or less, you can fill out that survey. And we have had several surveys coming at us. I just want to mention you have two different surveys, one at pickup and one at delivery. And you will get those survey invitations via email from DoD. You don't have to go into the Defense Personal Property System, DPS, where you scheduled your move. You can just go online. They'll send you a link. You'll just look at it via email. You can complete the survey, and you may get a couple of reminders whenever you file a claim or other moments if you've not filed the survey. So I just want to mention that you have that time, and we appreciate everyone making time to do that. If you'd like, we can talk about what else to do after that move, which is probably more important, that you're really more focused on, and that is your claim. Your personal property claim is very important. When we look at the time that we have to fill that claim, it's 180 days again. And that's when you give notice that you actually have a claim. It used to be 90 days. And we have leaders here in the DPMO who are architects of this rule change. Many of us can't unpack everything in 90 days. I know I didn't. And so 180 days gives everyone time to unpack, make sure everything's okay. If it's not okay, then you can give notice to that industry provider that you plan to file a claim. And then you have 9 months overall to file that claim and make sure that you've got that in there. And so what I want to mention is I appreciate you, Sally. Sally's dropping some links here that we have linked on our Military One Source page or YouTube. So your customer satisfaction survey, we have a video on how it works and how to go about it. We have a fact sheet on the customer satisfaction survey. And then we also have a fact sheet on our personal property claims. And then again, if you're in the process of filing your claim and you cannot get that completed, then just make sure that you reach out to your transportation office or your DPS help desk when you're filing the claim, or someone else in your military claims office if you've referred it over. And I just want to mention, I did say 180 days to file your customer satisfaction survey. It is actually 90 days from each event. So 90 days from pickup, 90 days from delivery. But then that 120 days is how long you have to get that claim filed. So it's all interrelated. It's not an integrated process, and it's not something that we all think about doing later, but it's certainly something that you want to do to complete that full cycle of your move and make sure everyone else who follows you in the following year has a good experience or lend to it.
So Melissa, let me ask you a follow-up question on the survey. So let's say you and your spouse PCS, can both of you fill out a survey, or is it one per household? Does it have to be the active duty member? Who can fill out the survey?
Right. So it should not be two of you filling out the survey, because that's a double tap, right? We want a true representation of a singular move, but it does not have to be the military member, the sponsor. It can be the military spouse. It can be a family member. If you have an adult child, who moved with you, a college student, they can go on and they can, as long as their survey responses are informed by the full family experience, then they can certainly do that as well. So, but we do want to have that survey if possible. We had about 11% survey return rate in 2022. That's about 11,000 out of 120 shipments. And 10% actually feels like it's okay, but we really want to improve that rate. And so we'll take whoever would like to fill out that survey, as long as they're speaking for that service member and their family on the experience. Yeah, great question.
Wonderful. Now, you talked a little bit about some of the Military One Source resources. I know you have a ton of educational materials. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, and I'm really thrilled that you've asked about that, because when I look at the landscape of how we've been coordinating with you over the past year or so, we came for an interview in January of last year with your team and talked about the launch of the Military One Source page, and then we talked again in June about the Military One Source page being full up. So if you've seen move.mil on your orders, or have seen move.mil anywhere in your military guidance, that is outdated, and move.mil was sunset. We sunset that last November, and we now have Military One Source as our primary location for our customer communication products. And the Military One Source team has done terrific work with us. And that collaboration has led to a landing page called Moving Your Personal Property on Military One Source. And I think Sally will drop in some of those links. And basically it has the primary landing page and then two other pages on who to contact and our communication products. We had an unprecedented rate this year. We dropped in 9 fact sheets and some web articles. We also worked on some video articles on personal property and podcasts on moles and containerization. And so we're basically really excited about the feedback that we received from customers and our personal property offices this past moving season. And now what we're doing is we're knocking it up a notch for 2023. What we're doing now is we've got 16 fact sheets lined up, maybe a little more, maybe one less if we consolidate, but we have new information lined up for 2023. And so you're going to see a lot more information. The fact sheets are that quick reference guide, and then a web article may provide more information. Print those out or have them on your phone. You can access them on your phone. But make sure that if you have any questions that the fact sheets don't cover, talk to your counselor at the local transportation office. You should always have a relationship with them to make sure that you cover something that the fact sheet can't, cover, since it can't cover everything. And then we also are going to be growing those podcasts and our web articles, along with our outreach to our family readiness centers. So we know a lot of family readiness centers conduct PCS workshops early in the year, February, March timeframe. So we're reaching out to them early to make sure that those who are PCSing before 15 April, 15 May, that time frame for peak season, that they know what rules to look for the 2022 season, and then the 2023 season kicks in at a certain time. So we're going to make sure we work with our family readiness centers on that, and that will all also be posted on Military One Source. If you're moving before peak season begins, then you follow the 2020 rules. But we're really excited and we're very grateful for that relationship. And I think Sally's dropped that Military One Source link in as well. No, she's going to drop it in here shortly. And then we have a QR code that you can access also on Military One Source. If you want to just keep that on your phone, it's readily available all the time for you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I think it's so exciting, I think, especially to have you all on here. If you look at some of our viewer comments, we've got Sam in Missouri, we've got Courtney in Fort Meade, we've got my man Ernie Pena, who is one of our favorite drivers and guests on the show.
Okay.
Hello from Kentucky, and Teresa's in Kentucky. We've got Angela and Sil, just spouses and service members from all over the world. So it's great to have you in here.
May I ask, Sam, where are you in Missouri?
Sam Randall.
Okay. Because we are just outside of St. Louis. We're at Scott Air Force Base. And actually,
very nice.
This area. So we might run into you at somewhere. So great.
Probably. Well, let's go on to PPM tips. Colonel Honeycutt, I know you have cornered the market on tips for our viewers on what to do about scheduling a PPM. Talk to us about everything PPM. Oh, but unmute yourself.
I'm still getting used to the live streams again. PPM, personally procured move, or as people used to call it in the past, a Diddy move. We want to make sure that if people do opt to do that they make sure to follow some guidance that we have. So you can arrange it yourself, but and it can be either a full Diddy move, a full PPM, or a partial, much like we do pretty much every move. You pack some of your items up in the car, so you're going to do a partial PPM. You still need to book it through DPS. However, before you book your PPM, you have to obtain that approval from your transportation office. They'll explain the options that are available to you for conducting the PPM and what's required to get reimbursement. There's a couple of ways, obviously, you can do that. You can rent a truck, U-Haul rider. You can do the pods, trucks and trailers. You can use your own vehicle. A friend can help you move. You can hire a company to do your move for you, or you can ship via FedEx, UPS, if it's small packages and things like that. So there's a variety of options, and we know when people come, or when it comes time to move, people, they want choices, but we want to make sure that they're making the right choices. If you choose to hire a commercial company, discuss your details with your transportation office first. They'll give you suggestions for reputable companies, movers registered with the federal government. You can find a list of movers on the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration website. Basically, you want to make sure that you're just not what I would say is Craigslisting a mover, or using someone who just posts on a job board. You want to make sure you're getting a company that's going to take care of you, and also because in the end, you don't want to, as some people have probably heard the horror stories where they do a PPM and they get to their destination and they go to have their delivery take place, and the company asks for more money, or they say they won't release the household goods until they pay a fee or additional handling fee or something like that. That's definitely not above board. That's not what we want people to have to experience that. And so please make sure that, we're not, what I would say, dealing with rogue movers. They might underbid the move initially, think they're getting a good deal, and then they increase the prices after they pick up the property, and then hold it hostage, basically. If you do end up having problems with the moving company that you hire, there's a few things you can do. You can obviously contact your local transportation office to verify that the moving company is a DoD approved mover, and we can take punitive actions against them if they are. If they're not part of the network, I would recommend filing with the Better Business Bureau. I can never say that. I just always say BBB. But they can definitely help you out. Then also the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has come up with a commercial enforcement division that you can call to report issues, and they have resources available as well. I would also say contact DoD legal offices on base, and they can definitely help you step through if you have any issues with rogue movers. I think they're throwing some links up for our PPM fact sheet. There's also links to a PPM podcast. And we should have links to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration website, as well as the list of movers that are approved there. So hopefully those tips can keep people from having to deal with an unpleasant experience. Obviously, whether people opt to do a PPM or have the government move you, your entire move, we want to make sure that experience is good from door to door. And so following those tips and tricks will hopefully keep people out of any kind of sticky situations. Hopefully that helps.
Absolutely. Now, it seems to me a lot more people that I know in the last year have done PPMs than previous years. Are you finding that more families are doing PPMs this year versus last year?
I think, we've seen some times of the year where it definitely increases. And obviously with the effects that COVID had on kind of the whole entire move process, we've seen some people just opt to kind of take things, I don't want to say take things into their own hands, but they want to have a little bit more control. And so, yeah, we have seen some spikes in PPMs. We're still doing some, really digging into the numbers to try and to see how things are comparing. But I think as we move out of COVID, we start to get better numbers because that 2-year period kind of threw everything for a loop. And with the stop movements and everything that was going on, it was really hard to kind of see how the industry was going to react to that. So it's definitely been a trying time. And I know how people, if they do a PPM or they do a full government move, they just want to make sure they're having a good experience. And so that's definitely why we're here today, to make sure that we can give you all the info.
Yeah. And if I might add to Colonel Honeycutt's discussion, Tessa, if you're worried about a PPM, if you're thinking about doing a PPM because you're worried you're not going to have a good experience with your DoD move, just know that our numbers, our customer satisfaction rates were better in 2022 moving season, and we had fewer missed deliveries, late deliveries. We had a better season overall. With our moving industry managing the capacity. That wasn't just the industry and it wasn't just TRANSCOM. It was a lot of work in collaboration with the military services to make sure that they had all of the information about capacity. And our joint personal property shipping offices, I've got to give a shout out to those joint personal property shipping offices who do those analyses in their own regions to make sure that they understand what that capacity looks like for industries. I visited two joint personal property shipping offices earlier this year, and both of them are looking at the region and where their areas see a surge, when they see a surge. Service schools in the summertime, you see a surge. North Central had their own issues that they were keeping track of. And so they do a lot of work analyzing it. And we really we saw that we had a less impact for negative customer experiences in 2022 because we did get ahead of it. And we are already looking at those forecasts for 2023 to make sure that we're working with the services and we're working with the personal property offices in those regions who manage that local capacity. So customers are encouraged to do a PPM if it's what they want to do, but we wouldn't want anyone to do a PPM because they think they're going to have a bad experience because things are improving. Even if the national labor shortages, supply chain issues are what they are, we are actually learning as we and adapting, and we're really working on those better experiences. And I may want to mention, Colonel Honeycutt, we might want to mention that the Air Force is actually doing their own PPM podcast on December 13th, I believe. So we'll get that information over to you. I mentioned that to our Air Force partners, and we partner with the services on all of the messaging that they do as well. So we're really thrilled to see them present that PPM podcast that they're going to present information. It's going to be live as well. And so we'll make sure you have that information for your listeners also.
Oh, so exciting. Thank you. I love a good podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have a little bit more time to dive into some of the nuances of the global household goods contract. Colonel Honeycutt, tell us, I'm specifically interested in What are some of the benefits for
Certainly.
customers?
Yeah. So I'm glad we got to go back to that. I know there's a bunch more people in the lobby, and I have some things I definitely wanted to share. Sorry that I popped off. My dog was going crazy in the background. One of those households, but obviously we know GHC is just part of some broader changes that we're doing to the program. Obviously, we have the current program that we're maintaining, but GHC is our long-term reform that we're working on. And that's what that's going to do is obviously it's going to integrate the functions of the 900 plus TSPs that we have currently in the current program, and it's going to go down to that one single move manager, as we call it, who will be able to schedule and manage your move, and it's going to give us that increased capacity, what we like to call quality capacity, to meet peak season demand and enable us to affix accountability. But the benefits for the customer, things that we've seen already that I'm really excited about, the enhanced communication. Customers will be able to communicate directly with that single move manager that they're assigned to for the entire process. That will be from scheduling their shipment all the way through the claims piece. They can expect 24-hour, 7-day-a-week kind of customer support, which is going to decrease wait times. Basically, we're going to have the ability to either through the app, because I know a lot of people like to text or direct message. They'll have that option. They can call still. Obviously, you can still email, but we're looking to have like a 10-minute or less wait time. The modern digital tools that are going to come along with the prime contractor. They'll be easy to use. They're going to be super secure, mobile friendly, on your phone or your tablet. You'll be able to coordinate all your moves right from that device. Your cell phone or your tablet. Customers, you'll have ITV of your shipment from the time it's picked up and packed all the way to the time of destination. You can do all that on your phone or your tablet. Point-to-point status updates, arrival, departure, estimated delivery times. I think of it much like, I hate to compare moving and food delivery, but like when you order pizza from Domino's and you get the
I was just going to say that.
it's basically like, that's what I think of in my mind. So you'll be able to see where your household goods have been picked up. You'll be able to see it through the stage of delivery, and then you'll see, when it's ready to be delivered. And so I think it takes out some of the guesswork that everyone's had to deal with in their move. Sometimes you get to your house, you're ready to move in, but you're not 100% sure that your household goods are going to be delivered when they say they were. But this is definitely going to help us out. Also, Ms. Jordan talked earlier about the claims process. We're looking to simplify the claims process. We're going to improve inconvenience claims, where the GHC single move manager will be compensating customers directly. And based off of their relocation order, instances of late pickups or missed deliveries, everything will be handled through that prime contractor. And as I said earlier, just repeating for the folks who have joined us, we're going to do a measured phase-in approach that's going to start in September of 23 after the peak season. And then, so that will start the domestic shipments. And then after the domestic phase-in's done, then we'll move into the international shipments. But what you can expect, GHC full up and running once we get through everything in the fall of 2024. And we're super excited. I'm looking forward to, as we've been talking internally, when we get to the point where we can share more of like the behind the curtain look and some of the demos of the products that we're going to be using. People are going to be so excited. If you could have seen my face when I was seeing them, it was like Christmas for me. And so, I said earlier when we were talking in chat, like, not only am I part of the program office and part of the staff, but I'm also a customer. Dual military family. We've moved. I don't even know how many times now. I'm in 18th year of my career, but we're excited because we get to use those tools when we move. So it's going to be a change, a monumental change, but we're super excited to roll those out. So hopefully everyone's as excited as I am.
Oh, definitely. I will say, when I order Domino's, my children's very favorite thing about it is that you can leave a note of encouragement for your baker. Is that functionality going to be built in?
I do love what we've seen so far, the ability to, as I said, have that communication with your move manager via either, like I said, a text, a direct message, a phone call. They have basically built their system around being able to communicate with the customer, ensure that the customer never feels like they're at a loss for who do they reach out to, or how do they figure out where their move is. And again, as we moved into the generation where everything's mobile on your phone or your tablet or your laptop, it's just so much smoother and so much quicker to get updates. And I feel like it just lowers the stress level for everybody that's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's huge. I think the transparency in the moving process will be just such a welcome breath of fresh air. I can understand why you're so excited about it. Yay, Christmas.
Yeah, 100%.
Honeycutt, he was in a conference. I was on the other edge of COVID, so I listened in virtually, but we had a conference. We're dealing with, of course, we're working with our prime contractor, HomeSafe, and he was chatting me. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I'm really, and all the positive feedback, it's really infectious. He came back and brought it back to all of us who weren't in the room, and then it was like being in the room. And there's a lot of work that's been put into it, and Colonel Honeycutt and his team are doing a lot of great work. Also communicating and making sure everything is seamless.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, we're really excited to when we get to the point where we can kind of take the curtain down a little bit and get a chance to do maybe another webinar or a chance to bring the HomeSafe team in to have them show a kind of a peek at what they have. Because like I said, once you see what we're doing with MillMove, and once you see what we're doing with HomeSafe and the partnership and how everything's being tied together, I think everyone's going to be really excited. Once we get a chance to do that, we'd certainly like to link that up.
Once we get through the 2023 moving season also, because we do have when you think of GHC, you think 2024. For those in 2023, we're moving. So, absolutely, and Colonel Honeycutt, we'll look forward to that as well. And we hope to share more with you about 2023 as we unfold more details, as we get closer.
Wonderful. Well, you all are always welcome on here. We love having you. You're such a great resource for our entire community. I want to encourage anybody in the audience watching as we wrap up here to ask any questions that you have for either of our experts here. But while we wait for any questions to come in, Melissa, is there anything you want to add about either TRANSCOM's mission or personal anecdotes you can share about moving?
Well, I can say that in my nearly 30 years of civil and military service, I've moved about 13 times. And I do have skin in the game now, even though I may not move again, I might. But my two eldest kids are in the military. And my daughter and her son-in-law are stationed in Colorado Springs with my grandson. And my son is stationed in Texas, in San Antonio, and he's making a move to Nellis in January. So, of course, he feels clobbered by all the information I've sent him, but I want to make sure that he's his first PCS. He's anyway. So I do have skin in the game. I have a lot. And my daughter, my youngest, is an ROTC. She might be serving in the military as well. So, like Colonel Honeycutt, I think that when we look at this mission, it is such a noble mission. And TRANSCOM mission overall is really important. But the niche that we're working on right now for military communities, for service members and their families to improve this over that longer game, I think that's why Colonel Honeycutt is such a great person to lead the GHC transformation. We call it DPMO reform, but the transition, because we have lived it. We've lived experience. And most of us on the DPMO staff, our leaders, they've experienced it as well. And so I think there's real equity, personal equity to what we do, which is why it's so gratifying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Colonel Honeycutt, anything from you you'd like to add? Melissa, before we go to that, I can't imagine your sweet kids after a move, all the texts from mom. Did you fill out your customer satisfaction survey?
Right. I know I did. I didn't get prompting from them, but yes, but I did roll in their feedback on the experiences as well. So those CSSs were informed by a full family readout for sure.
Oh, good. Absolutely. Colonel Honeycutt, anything you want to add about either TRANSCOM's mission or things to look forward to?
Yeah, thank you. I kind of wanted to dovetail a little bit on what Ms. Jordan had said earlier. Obviously we know when we start the first moves for GHC will be in the September, October timeframe of 23. So we know we have to get to that point. So we're not resting in TRANSCOM. We're certainly, making improvements during the next year. We're making sure the customers are taken care of under their current program. And so we look forward to rolling those changes out and helping customers while we ramp up and get prepared for GHC. And I would just say, for the customers when you're involved, we talked about the survey, but knowing how important that is and how we can get feedback, and how getting feedback at all parts of the move is so important to us, because we can see kind of where those pitfalls are, and then we can make adjustments and improvements. And then we also using that feedback to kind of prep us as we roll into GHC, because it allows us to just give the home safe team that much more feedback on areas where we're having issues right now, and that they can make those improvements. And so having that partnership early that we have with them, and looking at the current program and what we're doing to change, like I said, it does make me excited, but it also I'm very hopeful for the future and for the changes, and just being able to improve that relocation experience, because again, I probably will have at least one more move left, and I want to make sure that when it does take place, it's a good one. And so I think of all the customers that we're working for, and I just want to ensure that we give them the best experience as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's just so encouraging to hear how personal it is for both of you, that, I think sometimes when we get these big corporations and big government entities, it's so intimidating, and the fact that it's for you, it's personal, makes
Right.
it.
And I just want to mention, Kristen Johnson-Barnett was supposed to join us today. You had her on your promo card, and she is our lead communication strategist. And she is under the weather, so she couldn't join us. She sends her best regards. Hopefully she can join next time. But I will tell you, she's also a military spouse, and she's made a couple of moves, and she came from the private sector as a communicator. And so she brings so much. Every member of our strategic engagements team and our DPMO staff, the full directorate, they bring so much personal experience that they really apply, that is absolutely well leveraged as we look at our reform efforts. And thank you. I will mention to Kristen, if she's not, I wouldn't be surprised if she's logged on and watching from wherever she is under the weather, but she definitely will watch later. And the next time we are online, we might have more information to share with you, definitely about 2023 season information, not just our communication efforts, but other things, and maybe some information about new leadership, and all of the progress that we're making in a DPMO. It's still underway, and like Cody said, we're always happy to share more whenever the time is right for us to share that with you.
Wonderful. I can't thank you both enough for giving up some of your afternoon to be with us today. We really appreciate your time, and most importantly, your expertise and your passion for this community. So thank you for joining us, and thank you all in viewerland for joining us today. We'll be back in a few weeks with another webinar. Stay tuned to our Facebook page for updates, and we hope to see you all soon. And go USA, go soccer.
That's right. And happy holidays. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.